Deb's first role here at the Wehr Nature Center started in 1990 as the education director and the director of nature in the parks, and she took the program over, the Nature in the Parks program, over from Paul Brings, who had started it back in the 80s. But she really immediately came in and made it her own. It grew. They started a really successful summer camp called Adventure Summer that went on for many years, and had us having day camps out at parks all over the county, not just here at Wehr Nature Center, so reached many students. She also started a program called the Master Naturalist. It allowed us to train our teaching naturalists and other regional interpreters and environmental educators in more depth about nature. So we had great experts from UW Extension that Deb brought in. She also brought in a lot of other grants. One of the ones that I think is really near and dear to her heart was a grant through PNC Bank to work with early childhood educators, and that really became part of the specialty of Wehr Nature Center thanks to Deb. She really loves kids of all ages, but has that special passion to work with kids at that youngest age where really they're making that first connection to nature. There's so many different hats that she's always worn, but Deb the creator is a very unique one. She knows how to sew anything, she knows how to cook anything, she knows how to can, pretty much any skill that you need from her childhood growing up in Iowa. If we wanted a whole bunch of decomposers for our Halloween Haunts event, and there was no such thing as a pattern for a roly-poly costume, no problem. She could create that from scratch, and she did. The event that's most associated with her was our Prairie Days event. It had Deb all over it. I mean, the whole idea of incorporating prairie home life into a program to highlight our beautiful prairie. And then what do you need to do that? Well, you need costumes. Well, she could sew the costumes. She could break it down and show and have the kids actually do things like snapping beans and quilting and cooking over a campfire. All of those skills that she loved to do, she could share, and it fits so beautifully into the story of, well, life on the prairie was very different, and let's appreciate that time in this place.
Debs Creativity in putting on a dinner for adults at the Nature Center, creating a Halloween Haunts with the help of the staff, where she sews costumes, she involved with music. All of that creativity is undervalued, so that when you walk into an event, it happens, but it doesn't just happen. It takes hours and talent.
One of my colleagues, Pat Fogett, really said it really well. She said that Deb really captures the heart of Wehr Nature Center, and I think that's true. We've always thought of Deb as kind of our mom, kind of that head of the household here, and her philosophy has been that everyone is family, and that included all of us as staff. It included every visitor that came in, every volunteer that spends time working here, and so you extend that same sort of warmth and hospitality that you would from your home. And she had this gift for knowing how to get people to help us and do things that she needed them to do. One example is we have a wonderful set of tradespeople here in parks, but they are way overworked. And obviously getting folks to come in a responsive way is best that they want. They can't always. So Deb started the tradition of making Chex Mix. And she would make it each year herself out of her own pocket and put it in tins and then hand deliver it out to all the tradespeople in parks. And so over years and years of doing that, they would return their tins each year and get another batch of Chex Mix. And whenever we had a call for anything we needed at Wehr Nature Center, we were at the top of the list.
30 years ago, the Nature Center had wood chip trails that were not really accessible to a lot of people in wheelchairs or with any kind of mobility problem. She worked endlessly with the Friends of Wehr and with donors to make the Nature Center accessible. Expanding the boardwalk, redeveloping the amphitheater to make it accessible to a wheelchair. The building itself became accessible.
I don't know that anyone can think back before we had the boardwalk, but there were literally 3 wooden boards parallel to one another that some of them were the old benches from Milwaukee County Stadium. And you needed to be a young person, not just an able-bodied person, but a young able-bodied person to walk safely on them. And so just, having that vision to say, we're going to build an accessible boardwalk with only donated funds, that's a very big, important part of her legacy.
all those things to make this really a comfortable place for people with any kind of limitations in mobility to come and to visit. She's done an outstanding job, not only making that happen, but also generating funds to make that happen.
She worked with the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District to get a national NOAA grant, work with lots and lots of teachers from MPS, other school districts, give them the opportunity to really learn in depth about the watershed. We still are seeing those teachers who were part of that grant come to us, bring their students, continuing to bring their students here to learn about the watersheds.
Deb has been a very strong supporter of the internship program, so that every year she works with universities to bring in university students to spend a summer here and working on everything from invasive species to environmental education. Each year she sends multiple students out into the world because of the influence that she has had.
She was awarded the National Interpretive Manager of the Year Award and also Meritorious Service multiple times to the organization. Her legacy goes way beyond Wehr Nature Center because of that, and really it amplified, Wehr Nature Center out to the nation, because if you just show up at a National Association of Interpretation conference and you say Wehr Nature Center, it's like, oh, you work with Deb McRae. And we're like, yeah, we work with Deb McRae.
This place has been transformed into a wonderful space that we can use. And without all the support of the local community, we couldn't have done that. Everybody helped us buy bricks.
Honestly, I honestly think that Wehr wouldn't be still here without Deb. There's been tremendous pressure on the Nature Center over the last 30 years as part of Milwaukee County Parks, as part of the Milwaukee County budget crisis that's been an ongoing issue. There were years where Wehr Nature Center was in consideration of not remaining open, and it was only Deb's intervention, her skill in diplomacy, and her ability to rally resources and especially voices to for our cause that helped to continue this on. So I think we owe her, the community owes her this legacy of a public nature center that has all sorts of programming and resources that are either free or very affordable programming that goes out into the Milwaukee County communities where people need it. All of that is her legacy and wouldn't be here without her.
Deb has led us through, and by us I mean the friends as well as the volunteers and the Nature Center in general. She has led us through a crisis in funding. I can think of standing out in front of the building, getting signatures for saving the Nature Center funding, and certainly Deb was working right behind us in order to make that happen, and successfully.
If we ever had a problem as a worker or as a colleague, there was never a hesitation to go and to speak our piece. And the kind of relationship as we had as not just as colleagues but as friends and family made it really, really easy just to always say, we love you. I think the aspects of her personality that shine through, again, that kindness, the willingness to listen to folks, just to slow down from all the million things that she has to do to really stop and listen to folks. I think that captures a lot of what who Deb is. That made her an outstanding leader, an outstanding manager, and an outstanding director. Deb is the eternal optimist, always glass half full, and the positivity that Deb brought to every day was really what helped to keep us moving forward. We're that place where everybody comes in and feels welcome. And so Deb really brought that spirit and culture to the Nature Center. And that's been Deb. And that's why it's so damn hard to find a new person to fill those shoes.
She's a wonder, and you don't replace a person like that, you just enjoy it.
I think for 30 years of working with her, this is probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to do, is to say goodbye and to say, you're not going to be here every day, and to continue forward without her. So I would just say thanks. Thanks for the friendship, thanks for the kindness, thanks for the family, and we're not going to be strangers.
we are very pleased to present to her the inaugural Golden Helmet. Thank you so much, Deb McRae.
Her dedication, perseverance, and passion for this project has been a catalyst for a truly accessible and inclusive nature destination in Milwaukee County that truly makes Wehr Nature Center a place for all seasons and a place for everyone. So thank you so much for your leadership on this project.
I want to say thank you to all the donors. This is a lifelong dream to get this done. So anyway, thank you all, because it took a whole community to build this. We had major donors, and without them we wouldn't have been able to do it. But it took everybody kicking in their $25, their 25 cents, here, keep the change for this to make it happen. So thank you. We are all better together.